Hello. How's it going out there? Happy Wednesday. Okay, so I think we're just gonna go briefly to the library and then we'll hop into the rest of the stream from there. Oh, and I am not here because I did not think ahead. Oh, there I am. Okay. Alright, problem solved. Alright, so hello. How's it going? Again, happy Wednesday. I am a little under the weather at the moment. I actually got my flu shot and seem to have suffered a bad reaction to it. So, I might be a little off today. Laika, hello, welcome, welcome. And Serene, of course, welcome, welcome. So yeah, it was weird because I got a flu shot last year and the year before and the year before that and all that, and I've never reacted this way. So, anyway, so I wanted to go ahead and do a stream anyway because I, first of all, am doing some painting, and I am always more motivated to paint if I'm doing it in front of people. And then I also wanted to show off a little something, a little new addition to the stream that I just got last night. So yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. And I'm just making my tea in the background. So that'll be nice. Yeah, I'm sure I'll be fine in a day or so. But I just got it a few hours ago, and yeah, I just, like I said, I seem to be reacting poorly to it. Oh well. But at least I won't get the flu. I think I have properly tweaked a few things for this stream that I had not done before. So I think from now on, alerts should be working over here on YouTube, because I think all the alerts I previously had were set to go on Twitch. Yeah. So we will know for sure if someone subscribes and or donates, because then the alert should, in theory, go off, and something on my main overlay will change. So, we'll see. I'll keep an eye out. Yeah. Hope you're all doing good today. It was actually a really, really nice day here. Here in New England. It's always really pretty this time of the year, although it is unseasonably warm right now. I think it's going to be like in the 70s or close to it all week. Which I feel cheated because I like my falls chilly. I like kind of a cold fall day. That's like my favorite weather. Oh well, what are you gonna do? Alright, tea is made. I think I am about as ready as I'm going to be. So, let's get over to the painting table and see what we're doing today. And welcome. So here we are in my brand new realm. So, of course, same old painting table. Hello. But a new environment for it. So yeah. Yeah, I am really loving this. So this was actually made entirely yesterday. I hired the artist, gave them my references, gave them a description, and they made the entire thing in a matter of a couple hours, complete with several revisions. So, yeah, so this is courtesy of my good friend Kesshoara, aka Cass, who is a very talented artist. And I just love it. So I think for the foreseeable future, this is going to be my main overlay, both for painting and gaming. Although I do have a slightly alternate version for special occasions that I might bring out every now and then. But yeah, but for today, this is what we're working with. Oh, and actually, also, I wanted to test something. So just let me know if you hear anything unusual besides me and the music. Ready? Ready? Alright, did you hear anything? Yes? Awesome. Sweet. Okay, good. Because my Stream Deck was not behaving, and I'm wondering if it had anything to do with the switch from Twitch to YouTube. So, I think I got it all worked out. But, yeah, the Stream Deck can be a little temperamental sometimes, I've found. The software just, like, decides when it wants to work or not, and then I have to, like, reinstall it. Not ideal, but, you know, what are you gonna do? Okay. Good. So, sound effects are ready to go. So, if I need to tell a terrible dad joke, I will be prepared. Yes. So anyway, so what we're working on today, we are first of all going to be doing a little miniature that is part of a collection that I've been working on. So this here, still a slight delay with the footage I see, but this is Agatha. She is a member of the Pharaoh, which is a race of boar people. And she's a primary character in the board game Widower's Wood. And she's also actually a character that's used in the game Hordes. She's a member of the Pharaoh faction there, which I do have some models for, including her official one, but this is the one that came with the board game. So anyway, so we are going to be working on her a little bit, and then when we either finish her or I get tired of her, then we're going to switch over to my October painting project, which is this big old boy. So this is the main body of my Grymkin Slaughterhouse that I painted the paneling for the other day and washed it. Although we may not be working on this part of it today. If we do work on any part of it, we will probably be working on this. So this is just like the ground portion that's in front of the house with a bunch of gravestones and dead bodies and stuff. So we'll probably be working on that. So yeah, I'm probably going to do this thing up like piece by piece. Although the main body has a ton of detail on it, so that's probably going to be the most time-consuming part. So anyway, yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing. And I might ramble here and there in my somewhat sick stupor. But if there's anything you'd like to chat about, I'm open to suggestion. Other than that, we're just going to hang out and chill. Alright, so for Agatha, one thing I wanted to do is paint the cloth on her. So there's these cloth bands around her arms. And there's also the kind of skirt that she's wearing. And I think... Oh, so neat. Yes, they are super neat. I love the models in these lines. So these models are all made by Privateer Press, which is probably my favorite miniature company. So they make the Iron Kingdoms universe, of which I want to play the RPG in the near future. I've actually got a couple of people interested so far. And They also make the games War Machine and Hordes, which I really, really like, but I never get to play. Just because I don't know many people who play, unfortunately. But it's just a super cool universe. It's this really fun, like, fantasy steampunk mix. Alright, so for the red, we're not going to go, like, super fancy with her. We're just going to do a couple of reds. We're not going to go, like, the full trio. So we're going to base coat with some of this. Yeah. We're going to base coat with clotted red. And then we're going to bring it up to carnage red after that. And we will, of course, be washing with something. I'm thinking Agrex Earth Shade, a nice brown wash. So yeah, we'll give her kind of a dark, dirty look. Nice to see paint slash minis aren't Citadel for once. Yeah, I mean, nothing. I have nothing against 40k. I do have my issues with Games Workshop, but the game 40k is great. Spoke too soon. Yeah, I use Citadel washes, but my main paints are all from Reaper. Just because Reaper doesn't make a whole lot of washes, and I find that the Citadel ones are, in fact, better, and they're roughly the same price. Yeah, so all my paints are Reaper, all my washes are Citadel, but yeah. Well, look who it is! It is the artist of the hour. Hello, Cass. Welcome, welcome. Just in time for me to have unveiled your masterwork. Maybe I gotta use a smaller brush, actually. Anyway, I just realized this is not cloth here. This is actually skin, so I'm gonna have to go back with her skin color. Hello, classic here. I'm doing okay. I am a little bit out of sorts because I seem to have reacted poorly to the flu shot that I got today. So I'm a little loopy, feeling a little sick, but I wanted to go ahead and do a stream anyway because I really, really wanted to show off the new overlay that you so wonderfully made for me. But yeah, I like the font on the books. I looked through all of them, and that was, I think, the best one for what I was going for. Pretty simple. There's not really much to it. Yeah, if anyone is here to witness like fancy painting techniques and like masterclass skills, you're gonna be disappointed. I am not by any means an expert. I like to call myself a barbarian with a paintbrush. I'm very good at like just using very simple techniques and achieving a good effect with them. That is my painting style. So I recover soon. Yeah. Thank you, Cass. Very sweet. So I may or may not be taking the day off from work tomorrow. We'll see. I'll see how I feel in the morning. And if there are any easy assignments that come up. Did I multi-class in Bard with the paintbrush? Definitely not with the paintbrush, but I guess Bard with the voice at least. Thank you very much. Just went earlier. I'm dinner, doing better. I'm glad. I'm really glad. One thing that makes me sad about my move to YouTube, as I've mentioned, I think on Twitter, is that I can't do channel point redeems anymore, which means people can't pay for ASMR mode, and they can't pay for my little wolfy growls or awoos or even the elusive ara. So yeah, so that's a downside of moving to YouTube, but we'll figure something out, I'm sure. This is a permanent switch. From what I can tell, yes, I am intending to leave Twitch for good. Which also means no raids anymore, which makes me really sad because I really liked raiding, but I just can't abide the way Twitch has been doing things and the way they treat their streamers, especially the small ones. And I'm sure YouTube has its issues too, but it's, from what I can see, the lesser of two evils. Redeemed hydrate. Oh, thank you for the hydrate very much. I will do so. I probably drank way too much tea for how hot it is. Okay. So, nothing really interesting right here. I'm just going around setting down a solid base coat. I have to do the arms too. Kinda careful not to get the skin. Should make these changes no different than whenever I drop by. Aw, I appreciate it, Kess. Trying not to get red on the metallic here. That would be kind of a bother to fix. Yeah, I like this clotted red on her. Looks okay. I was initially going to do more of a brown, like an earth tone. But there's another character that I have not painted yet who's going to have a lot of different browns on him. And I wanted each of the heroes to have their own unique look. I can actually show you what a couple of the other heroes look like in just a second. I'm just going to finish this base coat here. Heroes in these box sets. But I finished all the ones from Undercity. So now I'm doing these guys. And then I actually do have an expansion with some more heroes that I'll be painting up at some point in the future. But for now, just the base heroes are good enough. That and like the heroes in the expansion, I'm actually not as fond of them as I am the original heroes. They're not as interesting to me, but I'm sure I'll still paint them. Especially if I end up playing the games with people. There we go. It's a pretty good clotted red base coat. So real quick, while that's setting, before I hit it with a wash, I'll show you the other heroes. So first, I'll show you the heroes from Undercity. So, first one is this dude. So this is Milo Boggs, and he's kind of an assassin slash alchemist. So his big thing is he throws bombs, just a lot of bombs, and knives. He likes throwing things in general. And then we also have this guy. So this is Gardex Stonebrow. He's a trollkin, which is kind of the Iron Kingdom's version of orcs, but they're just trolls, and they're actually kind of good guys, which I thought was really cool. I actually have a full trollkin army. It's like a lot of models. It's like 200 models, most of which are painted. So yeah, so he's kind of the up close and personal, kind of close combat meat shield brute of the team. Then we have this one. So this is a gun mage, which is one of the coolest combinations of words ever. So this is Canis Gormley. And I actually really like how her model came out. There's a lot of like little detail to her. Yeah. And then the last hero is actually two. Two in one. The first part of it is this little guy. So this is a gobber. His name is Pog, and he's a mechanic. So, yeah, I like how his model turned out. And this mechanic comes with a pet. Specifically, a pet steam jack. So this is Doorstop. So the two of them kind of work in tandem as a team, with Pog yelling out orders that Doorstop obeys. Because the Steamjacks, the robots in this universe, they function on a combination of science and magic, so they actually understand verbal commands and have a certain intelligence. So, yeah. So those guys are the heroes of the Undercity game. And then for Widower's Wood, we have Agatha, which I'm working on right now. And then we also have this guy. So this is Vasquez, and he's a black-clad overseer. He's a sort of a druid of the Circled Orboros. So he's all about maintaining the balance of nature, sometimes at the expense of humanity, but you know, whatever. The circle is very shady. And then there's this fellow. So this guy is actually the main character of Widower's Wood. There's a whole story that goes along with it, and it pretty much starts with him. He's the one who kind of gets the team together. So this guy's name is Olo, and he is a croak, which is a race of frogmen. So I'm not completely sold on his character yet, but I think he's interesting. It's like, other than the big old knife he's carrying, his primary weapon seems to be bombs that are made from gourds. So these bombs are very versatile. They can do a variety of things, but he seems really interesting. And then the last hero of Widower's Wood that I've not fully painted up yet, all I've done so far is his skin, is the hero that I would probably play if I had a choice. Because, one, I think he looks really cool, and two, I like how his rules function. So this guy's name is Skarg the Voracious, and he is a Tharn, which is a sort of a race of barbarians that worship the Devourer Worm, which is this kind of deity of destruction and feral beasts. So he's got his giant old bow, and he's basically just a ranged powerhouse. So yeah, so I like Skarg. Hopefully he will turn out good. So he's the one I mentioned earlier, the one who's going to have like a lot of earth tones to him. So lots of different flavors of brown, and probably bone color too, and then a little bit of metallic. He's actually got on a metal mask, I think. So anyway, so yeah, so those are the heroes I'm working on. Alright, so back to Agatha. She's kind of the close combat version of Skarg. So Skarg is good for range, and Agatha's all in with the close combat. And then Olo's kind of a mix. He's more versatile that way, and then Vasquez is more of a range support spellcaster. So pretty good balanced team. Alright, so we're going to be applying our Agrex Earthshade Wash. And while that dries, what we can probably do is move over to the slaughterhouse for a little bit and work on that. There's a few things I want to get done with it today. First I want to finish up the gravestones on it, which I'm going to be doing by dry brushing. Although I realized I forgot my paper towel, so I'm going to have to go get it. And then there's a wooden fence post or two on there that I want to finish, because they actually use most of the same colors that I'm using for the gravestones. I'll explain in detail what I'm doing for the wood colors on it. And then after I do that, the next step is to start picking out the dead bodies that are all over the ground. It's a bunch of like corpses that are coming out of the graves. Alright, so that was easy. Wash is applied. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just vanish for like 2 seconds to grab a paper towel, but I will be right back. And I'm back. Dead, huh? What? Yeah, there's dead bodies on this thing. And I can actually show you. So it's probably hard to see from a distance, and from like the fact that most of it's a very dark color right now, but you can kind of make out shapes on this base, which are arms that are reaching out of the ground. Yeah, the Grymkin are really cool, actually. I've got a few models here. Hold on 1 second. Be right back. Just grabbing the models. Okay. Okay, I'm back. So, actually, Kess, I showed you one last night as a reference, when we were planning out the overlay. So, there's this thing. So I think I've shown this on stream before a couple of times. This is called a witchwood. And it's what happens when an innocent girl is accused of witchcraft and hanged. The masters of the Grymkin bring her back as a vengeful spirit, along with the tree that she was hanged from. And the two of them go out for revenge. So yeah, so what I'm going to be doing with the wooden fence posts on the ground part of this thing, as well as some of the trim on the house and the trees that act as its arms, is I'm going to be painting up this way. Yeah, the rope's on the back here. Little noose. So yeah, so what I do for the Grymkin wood, to make it like a light kind of ash color with some brown. I was going to say the painting on the trees. I'm really glad. Because usually when I paint wood, there's actually a specific trio called Woodstain Brown, Shield Brown, and Driftwood Brown that make a really good wood color, and I use it a lot, but I wanted wood for the Grymkin to look different. I wanted it to look a little like pale and creepy. So what I do for that is I actually paint it with my stone trio of Shadowed Stone, Stone Gray, and Weathered Stone. So it's actually like a progression of warm grays, and then I coat it with a brown wash to tint everything. And the result is just gorgeous. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the slaughterhouse. There's that. If you want to see something really creepy, there's this guy. So, this is one of the Grymkin war beasts. This is one of the monsters that the commanders control. And it is called the Skin and Moans. So yeah, this is kind of a nightmarish creature that has no skin of its own, so it flays its victims and wears them. Especially the faces. It loves to wear the faces because it has no face of its own. So if you actually look closely on this guy, a lot of the patches of skin that are hanging from it are in fact faces, and you can see the eyes and mouths on them. And according to the lore, these faces are like constantly moaning in agony as it lumbers toward you. And this thing's huge, by the way, to show you some scale. Like, the witch on the witchwood is supposed to be about the size of a normal human. So, the Skin and Moans is like, like 2.5 times that size. So it's like, I would say roughly like 12 feet tall. Probably taller if it didn't slouch. So yeah, so that's that. And then of course, one of the basic foot soldiers of the Grymkin. This is a Dreadrot. So they are basically what happened to corrupt people in the Iron Kingdom's universe. They turn into these things. I forget the exact procedure, but part of it has to do with their head being replaced with the pumpkin. And probably the most sinister detail on them is all the Dreadrots have these sacks that they're carrying. And inside those are people. They just stuff their victims in sacks and carry them off. And then, for something a little more silly, we have this. So, this is a piggyback. And, this is the Grymkin's way of punishing those who grow fat and lazy on the toil of others and kind of take advantage of people. So they become cursed cursed to serve as steeds for these giant pigs for all eternity. There's a whole unit of these piggybacks. They come in a batch of 5. So I painted them all up at the same time, and they were actually a lot of fun to do. So they're kind of the Grymkin's heavy infantry. They're kind of slow, but very hard to kill. And they hit really hard. And then, alright, the last one I'll show you for now before we get back to painting is actually a special named character. And I love this guy. His lore is so good. His name is Lord Longfellow. And he might look like a dapper gentleman with his little tricorn hat and a porcelain mask that he's wearing and his fine coat. But that bit of red that you see is the hourglass symbol of a black widow spider. He is, in fact, a giant spider that masquerades as a man. And he is an expert duelist with pistols. Oh, to answer your question, I'm drinking pomegranate tea tonight. It's my favorite. So since I wasn't feeling well, I wanted to at least be comfy and be drinking my favorite tea. So yeah, there's a really good story in the Grymkin rulebook, which reads like a compilation of dark fairy tales, which the fairy tale nerd in me loves. And it's called Lord Longfellow's Masquerade. And it's the story of this corrupt noble whose people are suffering while the noble himself just like hoards all the wealth and has these lavish parties for his friends. And one night, Lord Longfellow comes to one of the parties and challenges him to a duel. And, of course, the nobleman is a coward and doesn't want to fight him, but Longfellow gives him a choice. The choice is either, he can fight Longfellow and lose and die, or, alternately, Longfellow says, or you can refuse the duel and I will kill everyone here, except you. You will live. And so the noble thinks for a second, and he's like, you know what, I don't really like these people anyway. They just eat my food and laugh at my jokes and whatever. So he sacrifices all of his friends and lets Longfellow murder them all. But then the twist is that after Longfellow departs, the people in town come upon the mansion and they see everyone dead, and they decide to hang the young nobleman as a murderer, thinking that he killed them all. And so, the next day at dawn, the nobleman's standing on the gallows waiting to die, and he looks out into the crowd, and he sees Longfellow in his fine coat and porcelain mask, and he just gently tips his hat as the nobleman falls. So yeah. Yeah, it's a really cool story. And I actually made an audio recording of it once for a friend. But yeah, it's so good. If I wasn't worried about copyright, I would totally do it on stream. But it is such a good story. Yeah. Okay. I think we'll do at this point. Agata is not quite dry yet. She's still got a little bit of wash that needs to dry. So I'll start doing some dry brush highlights. So what I did previously on all the gravestones and the fence posts is I base coated them with shadowed stone, and then I washed them all with black, except for the wood. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to go one color up and dry brush everything, kind of a liberal dry brush with stone gray. trying not to get any on the dirt. If I get some on the dead bodies, it's fine, because I haven't painted them yet. But I'm going to try not to get them on the dirt, because the dirt is actually finished. That's fully highlighted. Actually, I don't know if you can tell from here, but it's already looking a lot better. I'm not too worried about the fence posts because those will actually be in shadow. They're going to be holding up the awning of the house, which is kind of its upper lip. Like the front door is its mouth. And also this fence post here is pewter, unlike the rest of the model, which is resin, so too much dry brushing can actually rub the paint off. Okay. And the other side. Go. Easy peasy. Just gonna rub off any extra, and then we're gonna go with our final highlight, which is weathered stone, which is actually the base color I use whenever I'm painting white, or like a warm white, anyway. We're gonna be a lot more conservative with this, rubbing off most of it. I'm just going to be catching tops and corners. Just about do it, honestly. Really quick and easy. So, the gravestones themselves are done. I'm not going to touch them anymore, but I am going to do the fence posts here with that gray, not gray, brown wash. Get out our Agrex Earthshade. And hopefully, if we did this right, it will come out looking very similar to the Witchwood. apologize if the lighting is a little off. I need a better light setup. Should do it. So when those fence posts dry, in theory, they will have the desired effect. Just gonna take a drink. Just sit back for a second. I'm trying to be a lot more conscious of taking eye breaks because focusing on all those details for so long can actually hurt the eyes. So every now and then I like to sit back and just kind of either close my eyes or just kind of stare off into the distance, not really focusing on anything. Which, from a third party, probably looks weird. Oh, good tea. Alright. Aw, Cass, thank you for retweeting. Okay. Agatha, how are you doing? How you doing, girl? Doing okay. Mostly dry, still a little bit wet at the bottom, though. So I think we're still going to leave her alone. What we can do in the meantime is we can start picking out dead bodies. So, what do I want to do? First, I think I'm going to do a couple of different skin tones overall. Some of them I'm going to base coat with one color. This Vampiric Shadow, which is a really pale, sickly kind of flesh tone. And others I will be doing with this one. So you have here some ghoul skin, which is sort of a grayish green. So, and both of those colors have trios that go with them. If I can just find all the colors. There we go. So we'll start with two different skin tones and kind of mix and match. But I may do more than that. I'm actually debating just doing some in a regular flesh tone and just adding a lot of like blood and stuff to make them look fresh. Don't mind me lurking. Currently working on a last minute report. Oh, no worries, Cass. Hope everything on that front is going well. Alright. So we're going to pick random arms and do them in ghoul skin. And pick other arms and do them in the vampire color. Careful. Not to get any of this ghoul skin on the dirt. probably will later on, once all the highlights and washes are done, I will probably add more detail, like dark reddish spots for dried blood, or like a pale pink for exposed inner flesh. This arm coming up, that's a cool arm for sure. For sure. I debated doing a couple of these arms with a darker skin tone, but then I realized it would, even though my dark skin paints are different than the earth paints, it would probably still blend in a lot. You probably wouldn't be able to see it as well. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. The skinny arm here, that looks gooey. Probably do is use washes to create little patches on some of these arms, because if you look at decomposing flesh, it's a little cheerful subject. The rot does show up in patches. It's not just everywhere all at once. It's really interesting that way. I think this is going to be a ghoulie arm, and then these two I'll do with the vampiric shadow. It's actually kind of funny, like, just being a writer and model painter who likes to paint undead and things like that, and likes to write about like, horror and battles and things. I just happen to, along the way, pick up a lot of information about bodily injury and decomposition and all these like horribly morbid things. Most people who know me and my regular personality would never think that I would know such things, but occupational hazard. Actually have like reference books, I think meant for either medical professionals or police about like the effect of various weapons on the human body and stages of deterioration and all that horrible, grisly stuff. For a reference book on poison. Yeah, exactly. Like, I am pretty sure, like, you and me and every writer out there, just because of our Google search histories, are probably on some kind of list. We probably all have our own dedicated, like, FBI agent monitoring us. No, it's just for research. that's all the arms I'm going to do with the ghoul color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over them and just make sure I've got a solid base coat down. And then I'll probably, I'm thinking I'll wash them with the Athonian Camo Shade. It's like a military green kind of wash. Just got some paint where I didn't want it. Wipe that away. Oh, so Leica, I saw your post earlier about like musing about making a comic. That is pretty dang awesome, if I do say so. Actually, as it happens, my brother started one a long time ago. It's since been abandoned. It's a very old project from like 15 years ago, I think. But he and his friends had a lot of fun making it. It was based on a D&D campaign that they did once. So I think the website's still up. I want to say it is. I haven't been there in a while just because I know they scrapped the project, but always wanted to. I mean, I want to get these novels written first, but I would love to see my characters in other media as well, whether it's comic book form or whatever. I've said it before, like, one of my dreams, like, the way I'll know that I made it as a writer is if I go to a con someday and I see someone cosplaying one of my characters. Like, first of all, that person will be my new best friend, whether they like it or not. But that's how I'll know. Yes, finally, I did the thing. Okay, so that's the base coat on the ghoul arms, so let's do the vampiric arms. I don't actually know if this will look okay, but we'll see. Because I was thinking of washing them with a flesh shade, but I don't know if that would make them look too alive. But I guess that's not like a huge problem. They could be fresh corpses. Ash, hello, welcome. Oh, we're having a little writer convention here. All we need is Pawsworth and we'll have a party. Oh, thank you. I love these overlays. The artist who made them is in fact lurking in chat right now. Sorry if I keep pulling this model part off screen. I'm trying to focus on tiny detail, and so I keep instinctively pulling it closer to me. We should totally have a WriterCon collab. Honestly, I would love to. I would love to collaborate with other writers. Like, I don't know what form that would take because I don't have a lot of experience in that kind of thing. Usually, like, because I'm the writer among my real life friend circle. Like, none of them really do that. So it's always been a very solitary activity for me. And I was actually amazed to discover that there are other VTuber writers out there. Quite pleasantly surprised. And likewise, I'm the only model painter in my friend group. Like, I have a couple of friends who do these miniature war games, but I'm the only one who paints. I never get to see them, so I never actually get to play these games. Which makes me so many kinds of sad. But yeah, if you want to join up on stream sometime and do like writing sprints or other things like that, I'm totally down. Almost done. This vampiric skin is very pale, so it doesn't go on quite as well as the ghoul skin. What do you gotta do? I'll take a drink of tea, that's what I'm gonna do. I have to say, I'm actually really happy because this is the most lively stream that I've had on YouTube so far. Just because the YouTube channel doesn't have a lot of subscribers yet, although I am frequently urging people to follow. Consider doing some Twitch streams specifically with the goal of telling everyone who stopped in to go over to my YouTube channel. But I don't know. Still on the fence. I'll get better as you go. Before I switch to Twitch, my average is 7 viewers. Still trying to get back to it. Yeah. So like how I felt the past week or so is like it's like starting over from scratch. Even though it's not quite that, because I still do have the Twitter community and all that, and you know, I know way more people now than I used to, and so it's not like I'm completely starting over, but I just gotta get back into the swing of things and get that momentum up again. So I haven't really done anything huge lately. Like I used to do some really big events. I had that weekly tabletop gaming stream. I did those cooking streams. I've done charity events, subathons, donathons. I do want to do another donathon soon because I need to raise money for a new PC in order to Halloween stream and a Christmas stream. All that good stuff. So, although my last Christmas stream, like, very few people came to it, which I was completely okay with. It was mostly just for any viewers who might be spending the holidays alone if they needed a nice comfy place to be. Love the cooking streams. Oh yeah, I like the cooking streams too. It came down to money, honestly, because making the special dishes that I wanted to make, I had to like make extra trips to the grocery store, and the bills started adding up. So once I'm in a slightly better place financially, I'll get back to those. Okay. So what I'm gonna do now that I've painted all these arms, they look pretty simplistic right now, but that is going to change. I'm going to wash the ghoul arms with Athonian Camo Shade, and then as far as the vampiric whitish arms, I think I'm going to wash some of them with Agrex Earth Shade, and some others with Reichland Flesh Shade. Sounds really nice. Christmas stream. Yeah, the Christmas stream was really nice. It was super cozy. It was super chill. I had a special Christmas background, and I wore a Santa hat, and I had some special Christmas redeems, like Christmas-themed dad jokes, and I had this other special redeem for a fair amount of points, which is called Do You Hear What I Hear? And when someone redeemed it, I played a sound effect from my stream deck, and it was like distant jingle bells and myself as Santa saying ho 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 Merry Christmas. I like delivered it with this sense of childlike wonder, like, wait, do you hear that? It was a lot of fun. Alright, let's put the Athenian Camo Shade down. And after this, we'll check back in with Agatha, see how she's doing with her washes. And I think I'm actually going to use some of this Camo Shade wash and do some weathering on gravestones with it. Like some greenish splotches to make it look like either moss or mold or something is growing on them. And my Halloween stream last year was a lot of fun. I definitely want to do another one this year, where for like the first couple hours, all I did was just read tales from H.P. Lovecraft, and then I finished up by playing Call of Cthulhu, the video game, that is, not the RPG, although I would love to play the RPG. I got the starter set a while ago. I'm sure I will wrangle together a group for that at some point. Let's see how this little wash experiment goes with the others. This arm on the far left here. I'm gonna wash that with the Agrex, see how it looks. I mean, it's basically what I did for Skarg. His skin tone is the vampiric stuff with the brown wash. So, it shouldn't look too bad. With the Reichland. Never read anything from H.P. Lovecraft, but I heard quite a bit about his writing. Yeah, you try to come together. Yeah, definitely, Ash. If you're free on Halloween, I would love to do some Lovecraft reading again. I highly recommend. He's one of my favorite writers. Like, say what you will about his personal life and his horrible xenophobia. But the man was a brilliant writer, and you could see his like fear and suspicion of anything outside his bubble in his writing, because like his whole thing was fear of the unknown, well, it's a direct quote from him. The oldest and strongest emotion of mankind is fear, and the oldest and strongest kind of fear is fear of the unknown. That's one of the quotes he's really well known for. And in the horror short story that I'm currently working on, The God of Mice, a couple of people who've seen samples, it's the best flattery that I think I've ever received. Is they say something like, "I can see a lot of Lovecraft in your writing." My narrative voice when I'm writing horror is very similar to Lovecraft. I haven't quite mastered the language as he has, but I definitely try to pay homage to him. Alright, so there's a couple of different washes. They're actually looking pretty good. I think I like the Flesh Shade one a little more. Can't wait to read more of that. I'm glad. I was plugging away a little bit at it today, but I didn't get a whole lot done. But what I'm hoping to do, maybe tomorrow, if I'm not feeling great because of that flu shot, and I end up taking the day off from work, what I'll do instead is just focus on adding another part or two to the story. This last pale arm I'll do with the Agrex. Alright, and once that's all washed, once that's all dry, I mean, I'll add highlights to those arms. But yeah, our little gravestone area is looking pretty snazzy so far. I'm gonna add more details later. There's some, it looks like some greenery is popping up around the graves, but I'm probably gonna do that in more of a pale, like brownish yellow, to make it look like dead grass. Because if you look at all my Grymkin, the way I base them, instead of using green flock on the dirt, I use this special dead grass kind of flock. So I'm going to try to replicate that. I'm actually kind of loving this. It's not even fully detailed yet. Alright, time for a drink. But yeah, there are some projects that I want to get going on as I try to grow the YouTube channel and breathe new life into it. One thing, I want to redo my Discord, because my Discord's pretty much dead right now. It's not nearly what I intended it to be, because I just didn't put the time and care into it. So I think I'm going to wipe most of its current contents and just kind of redesign it and revitalize it and start doing community events and movie nights and things like that. So that'll be, I'm thinking after NaNoWriMo, I think would be a good time to do it. So early December, maybe. I'll start moving on a lot of other projects just so I can have November to work on the novel. And then I also want to reinstate game nights. So I'll do more tabletop stuff. I'm actually planning an Iron Kingdoms adventure, the RPG, because nothing against D&D. I love D&D, but I really want to do Iron Kingdoms because I don't know anyone else who does it online. So I want to do it. And yes, of course I'm going to do Nano. I've done Nano for the past 2 years, so this will be year 3 for me. Yeah. 1 second. Okay. I always forget about Nano. Yeah. So what we could do, since there's a few of us writer VTubers, is we could do like write-in streams together. We could do that. Maybe like once a week or so. Just sit down for a few hours and and just kind of write our hearts out. I don't know. It'd be up to you guys. Like, I don't know if you guys write better when you're around other people or if you write better on your own. It varies from person to person. Like, I sometimes get distracted, but I also really like vibing with other writers because then I feel kind of like inspiration by osmosis. So, yeah, if you guys are up for that, I would totally be down. If you can hear my dogs, apparently they're down too. Someone must have walked within a mile of the house, and they don't approve. Alright. Off to the side. How you doing, Agatha? I think you're dry enough. Yeah, you're dry enough that we can highlight. So, I'm going to go over all of Agatha's red parts with Carnage Red. Not sure if you're going to do Nano, because November's a busy month for me. That's fair, yeah. A lot of midterms and prep for exams and things like that, yeah. But yeah, if you find a window in between that, you are more than welcome. Oops. Just put way too much Carnage Red on the palette, but that's okay. I've actually got a ton of Carnage Red because it's one of the colors I use for my Blood Raven Space Marines. So, plenty of bottles left. Working my work progress with you guys? Absolutely. Yeah, and it's not. I'm not a strict adherent to the rules of Nano. It's whatever. It's an opportunity to write and get excited about writing. I think that's all that matters. It doesn't really matter how much you produce or the methods used for it. It's whatever. I just want everyone to be vibing and having a good time. Coming up with nerdy stories. So, for my part, I'm going to be putting in a lot of work on The Raven and the Fox, Book 1, which is going to be the start of my series, which takes place 20 years after a lot of major events. And then my plan is that probably at the end of Book 2, there's kind of a big twist or a big revelation that will take the reader back to the past, so that Book 3 of the series will be 20 years earlier, and will be focused mainly around my flagship character, Zenobia, and her friends, quote-unquote friends. She would not describe them as such. Everyone loves Zenobia. That makes me so happy. Like, she's my favorite character to write, so the fact that literally everyone I've shown the stories to loves her, it just makes me so happy. It's really nice because, like, as writers, we often put ourselves into our characters in some way, shape, or form. And pretty much all the major heroes take something from me. But I think Zenobia takes the most details that I would like consider really personal. Because her general attitude of just being kind of like done with everyone and the world is very similar to how I used to feel a long time ago. And she also possesses my vulnerable side, my fears, my insecurities, that kind of stuff. Base coat little leather on her. So there's a couple straps on each arm, there's her belt, and I think that's it. Although, I do want to also do her leg, because that... she's showing a little bit of leg there, and I did not realize that. So I'm just going to do that really quick with, you can't read the label on this, but this is Tan Shadow. Work. Uppers on high alert. There's actually a little bit of skirt here that I missed. So just a little bit of clouded red. I don't even think I'll have to wash it really. Just lay down the clouded red, put a little varnish run on it. It should be fine. Funny story for those who don't know. Zenobia actually came to me in a dream. That's how I came up with her. Just one of those serendipitous kind of moments. In a dream of kind of a sort of a mix between Dragon Age and Mass Effect kind of thing, but in a somewhat steampunky sort of setting. And Zenobia was one of the characters in it. And I remember enjoying that dream so much that when I woke up, I was like, I need to make a D&D campaign out of this. So I wrote down all the details I could remember and then made a D&D adventure where Zenobia was actually more of a side character and a possible secondary antagonist. And then years later, when I started thinking about writing, I tried to think of stories I wanted to tell, and I hit upon the idea of making Zenobia a main character for it. And yeah, and it was just a perfect combo. She made a really good main character. I developed her personality, her backstory, her worldview, her philosophy, all that, the more interesting she became. So she's actually kind of the end result of a thought experiment on my part, because the college I went to was actually a Catholic college, even though I myself am not Catholic. But just because the college itself is very Catholic, and a lot of the professors were actually Dominican friars. I ended up having to take a lot of philosophy and theology courses, and it was really interesting to me. I'm not a very religious person, but from an intellectual standpoint, I found it all fascinating. And so I thought about, in particular, Levian Satanism, which I looked into as part of a research paper. And I was thinking, it would be so interesting if I made a character who had that philosophy, that kind of worldview, and I put them in a world where gods actually exist. Like, what would that kind of character look like? And Zenobia is the result. Anyway, I'm working on different forms of the Rise of the Dragon Queen since I was 15. Oh, that's awesome. I was actually around that age when I started thinking about Nazarim, the world that my own books take place in. That is pretty darn cool. With the religion basis, yeah. Like pretty much most of my major characters, most of the really interesting and developed ones, are the end result of philosophical musings. And I wanted to create like a good mix of characters that could have interesting conversations and see eye to eye on certain things and not so much on others. Like another major character in it, Ringanui, who's sort of my equivalent of an orc. He's this huge, hulking, muscular figure who's like a really amazing fighter, but he also does not like fighting. He used to, but not so much. He suffered a major loss and kind of a major paradigm shift where his entire worldview was just shattered. And so he adopted a new path, and this new path is one mostly of peace, of fighting for peace. So he believes in like goodness and compassion and self-sacrifice and all these good things. And his views are actually like borderline Buddhist, I would say. And so he and Zenobia make a really interesting pair because they're the first two members of the team that get together. So the two of them butt heads a lot, but there's also a mutual respect and a lot of intellectual curiosity on Zenobia's part. Alright. Just gonna wash Agatha's leg here. Yeah, their dynamic's great. In some of the Zenobia journal entries that I've read on stream before, she talks about Ringanui. She probably talks about him more than any of the others just because she knew him the longest, and the two of them were probably, I would say, the closest in terms of friendship. There was one other member of the group that she got closer to, but that's a different story. So far, just gonna touch up that one little area with Carnage Red. Good. Now we can do the leather. So for that, we need. Where are my leather colors? That is an excellent question. Where are they? It's a khaki color. It's more earth tones. Huh. I seem to have misplaced my leather. Well, what we could do, we could use another earth tone. Yeah, why don't we? So let's go with a different trio for leather instead. We'll just improvise on the spot, because I don't want to go digging for my leather color, and you know what? This will make her have a unique appearance. So we're actually going to use our redstone trio, which is like a reddish brown. Yay, improvising. The downside of the redstone trio is it doesn't cover quite as well as my leather trio. But that's okay, we'll make do. It is actually very close. It's a very similar shade, but... Crystal, hello! Or should I say, hello. Welcome to my busiest YouTube stream ever. Actually had a lot of visitors today. There's something on her feet right before her hooves. I think that's leather. I think it's just a leather strap, so I'm going to paint it as such. And I keep pulling the model off screen because I am terrible at my one job. Let's see, we've got a couple straps on the side holding two parts of our armor together. She's also got a shirt under her breastplate here. I have to do a different color for that. The redstone and the carnage red kind of blend in with each other a little bit, but Not gonna be too big a deal, I think. Go back around and do another coat of this redstone. This is actually the same reddish brown that I used to paint the rocks on Thanos' throne. Not the most interesting fact in the world, but there you have it. Agatha's got a cool look to her. I dig her. There's actually a very small-scale skirmish game in the War Machine universe. I forget what it's called off the top of my head. But I have the starter set for it. And she's actually in it. So that's how I have her normal model. She's kind of like the team leader for the Pharaoh faction, and they're up against a bunch of Signar troops, which are Storm Knights, actually. So, a bunch of crazy boar people against a bunch of knights who shoot lightning. Never did paint that set. Just got it and just kind of let it sit. Mainly because at that time I didn't play the Pharaoh at all. I still kind of don't, but I have some of their models because I really like them. And Signar I haven't played since I first started playing the game. Other bits. Maybe muddy brown, earth brown, or earth brown, leather brown for the shirt. Yeah. So for her shirt and any cloth that's above the waist, I'm going to be doing earth brown and then a highlight of leather brown. Wash all these bits that I've been doing with a brown wash all at once. So this thing, there's like a cloth under her mask. She's got this cool metal mask. I don't know too much of the Pharaoh lore, but the look of their models is super cool. And they've actually got kind of a mad science vibe to them a little bit, because there's a human mad scientist who works for them. The Pharaoh have this one model that looks so cool. I really want to get it someday. It's their battle engine, and it's basically just like a giant meat grinder on wheels. They just tool around the battlefield in. Yes, very pretty models. Not nearly as pretty as the occupants of my chat today, though, I must say. Noticed there's actually some areas on the gravestone bit that are still wet, so I kind of don't want to touch it. But Agatha, I think, is ready for a wash, so we'll do that. So we'll get out our Agrex Earthshade again. There goes carrying me in the sweetest of no. I probably should have done her hair while I was at it, because that's going to get a brown wash too. Oh well. Leather and cloth washed. So what I'm going to do for her hair, I think, I'm going to do black and brown, and then where are the highlights? I've got too many browns. Oh, there's Ruddy Leather. It was hiding in the back. Oh well. Too late, Ruddy Leather. You snooze, you lose. I can't find the midtone for this. But I do have... Wait, no, I do. There's the midtone, Intense Brown. And then the highlight color... I can't find, but I think that's okay, because the highlight color is really bright. Highlight color is Rust Brown, which is like a reddish orange. Yeah, here it is. It's very bright, so I don't know if I want to use it. It's very, very red. Let's do some base coating for her hair. There are some lovely brown locks. She can whip back and forth as she is stabbing the heck out of a bunch of creatures. Brush for this. her hair. That looks pretty good. We could give her tongue a little color. And I'm going to do that with the rosy shadow. And then I'll probably hit it with the flesh shade wash a couple of times to darken it. At some point too to do her tusks, which are kind of hidden under the mask. I just realized it's going to be a busy few days from here on. Tomorrow night I'm actually hanging out with a couple of VTuber friends. Well, one VTuber friend, one former VTuber friend. So we're gonna be hanging out, probably playing some board games, online of course. And then Friday, actually, I'm gonna be... I don't know how involved I'll be, but there is my friend Aster, the evil story villain wizard, who is doing a 500 follower celebration. So I'll be involved in some part in that. It's going to be this big stream with a lot of community games and things like that, so I'll be involved in that for a little bit. And then later on that night, actually I have a friend, Haruka Yumi. She is a cat girl maid who apparently loves to sing. So she's doing her debut Friday night at 9-ish, I think. So I'm going to be going there to support. And then Saturday, I believe I'm scheduled to hang out with another VTuber friend. So, very social few days ahead. Which is very unlike me, but I am welcoming that change. Alright, I'm not going to hit the hair with a brown wash just yet, because there's a lot of wet wash in that area. Sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, I think it should be. Actually, the friend that I'm hanging out with Saturday, if we mesh well, if there's a good dynamic, what I think I'm going to do is actually invite them to be in the Iron Kingdoms adventure that I'm doing, because they seem very interested in that universe. Yeah, fingers crossed. I'd love to get a good party together for that. Wash your hair real quick. And there we go. So I guess that's coming along. I kind of want to do her eyes while I'm at it. Very tricky because they're very tiny, but you can see from our character sheet here. So her eyes are kind of a pure white. So I'm going to be going in there with some ghost white, I think. And I'm going to use a very skinny brush to try and get in there. Tiny little bit of ghost white just to pick out her eyes within the mask. looking great so far. Actually, I really like how she's looking. And she'll look even fancier once I do the trim on her armor, which is going to be kind of a gold color, but then I think I might weather it down. Gotta go for now. Have an awesome stream. Alright, have a good night, Ash. It was good to see you. I'll definitely keep in touch, especially about all that possible writing collab stuff. Oh, thank you. Kitty. Hey, no, Kitty, I can't pet you right now. I'm painting. I gotta do a stream. Alright, it is almost 9:30. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I think we're gonna probably paint for like another half hour and then call it there. Question mark. Yeah. First of all, I'm gonna stick a little bit of flesh wash in her mouth to shade her tongue. Doesn't look like much right now, but once it dries, it will dry a little darker. Oh, welcome back, Kess. Missed a lot of discussion. We had a whole writer convention in here. Been making progress on our beautiful boar lady. Speaking of which, I think I am gonna go ahead and base coat her tusks. So we'll do a base coat with aged bone. Oh, you're here the entire time? Okay. Wasn't sure if you were focused on other things. I know what a hard worker you are. I've been hydrating every now and then. Tell you what, I will pay closer attention to my hydrates if you give yourself more breaks. And then I might even do some of my special voice redeems for you, free of charge. This haggle. This is the best haggle. I'll have you know. Glad to hear it. Still quite a bit of wash left to dry. Oh, I can do her hooves with the bone color while I'm at this. flu shot's been leaving me feeling a little out of sorts. But now I'm feeling hungry again. But it's also close to bedtime. That is a conundrum. Some of the stitching. There's a little bit of stitching on her little skirt, so I think I will be doing some khaki shadow and follow that up with a highlight of Terran khaki. I think it is just here. I think that's the only part stitching, at least visible stitching. Alright, that was the khaki shadow. There it is. Terran khaki, I choose you. Wait a bit, Brayden. Could add a final highlight just to be fancy. So we'll go with the khaki highlight. First that, the hose should be dry. Lady cat. How you doing? Got an old lady cat by my feet, wanting pets. You know? Game at some point. Actually, just got a package today. It's the Dead Men Walking expansion, which continues the story of both Undercity and Widower's Wood. As a cult of necromancers show up and start raising heck, and as well as, you know, raising dead bodies. Those has dry, and then wash those, probably again with the Agrex Earthshade. And then I won't worry worry too much about highlighting them because it's supposed to, they're the tusks and the hooves, so those are supposed to look dirty anyway. Still wet, so I can't really highlight that right now. I could start picking out the gold trim or highlighting leather. There appears to be some red that I didn't get. Quick. Well, there's still quite a bit of red on my palette. There we go, that's fixed. I'm spending a lot of time on this model for what it is. But darn it, I want her to look pretty. Alright, those hooves look pretty dry to me. So, wash. Tusks. What's up, old lady? Come on out. Okay, just letting Kitty out. 1 second. Okay. The old lady cat has been released. So I think her shirt is pretty much dry, so all the upper cloth we can highlight. Just thinking of the little last minute details we can do. So we're going to use some leather brown. Not very much of it, because it is pretty bright. Just some little touches of it. Feathering at the edges here. Still haven't highlighted her skin. Usually, when I paint a model, I'll do like all of the skin highlights and all. I didn't with her. It's okay. Just go back and do it later. Okay. That brown's done. I can't highlight her hair because it's still wet from the wash. I think I accidentally got some of the wash off of her hooves. I'm just gonna reapply. Just do the other side, just keep it even. Agatha's looking great, actually. I'm really happy with how she's looking. She might be the best hero that I've painted, honestly, so far. We'll see. We will see if the rest of her turns out quite so good. But I am gonna do the gold trim on her armor probably the next time I work on her, which is gonna make her look a lot sharper. And then I'm going to dull some of it down and add probably some of this copper verdigris paint. What I'm gonna do with this, it's about as thick as a normal paint right now, so what I'm going to do is thin it down with Flow Improver and turn it into almost a glaze, and then I'm going to run it over certain areas of the gold to make it look like it's corroded or oxidized. Because I feel like she wouldn't have the cleanest metal gear in the world. Yeah. So that's what we're going to do with her. What we can do over here on the gravestones, the gravestones themselves are done. I guess we can highlight a little bit of the arms. So let's do the ghoul skin ones, the greenish ones, and we will highlight them up with moldy skin. And do not quite a dry brush, but almost. Careful about it, because I don't want to get any of this moldy skin on the dirt. I don't want to dirty up my dirt with mold, if that makes sense. Bloodless skin, and I just wet this brush to wash it off, so I'm not going to use that. For this final highlight, what I could do, I have this ratty old dry brush that's like really worn out. I'll try using it. Yeah, if anyone was here for Project Dreadfleet, this procedure should look pretty similar, or pretty familiar, because these are the colors I used to paint the Scabrous, the Skaven ship. It's just a big giant dead fish. Go. Although I did get a little blood skin in the dirt, which is unfortunate. What I could do, I'll take a little bit of brown that I've got here, and then I'll just dab that in to that particular spot. One will be the wiser. secret now. Alright. So not a bad evening of progress so far. We've been at it for just over 2 hours. And Agata is nearing completion. I would say she's like 70% done. Because I still have to do her armor trim. I need to highlight the leather back up. I need to corrode the gold. And then highlight her hair. And maybe some of the silver plates on her armor. Maybe. So, still some work to go on her. I have to highlight her skin too. But I'm kind of going above and beyond for her for whatever reason. Some models I just vibe with, and I just put in a little extra love on them. And then the gravestone part of our slaughterhouse model is almost done, actually. Now that I look at it, it's pretty much all I have to do is maybe add... Well, I have to do some of the grass that's growing. There's some vegetation on here. Which I'm probably going to do with like a pale yellowish brown to make it look dead, like I mentioned earlier. And then I might add a few like dried blood spots or exposed flesh here and there to some of the arms, just to give them a little more character. But other than that, this part of the model is almost done. So that's great. But I think I might do on the next painting stream, whenever that is. Maybe one over the weekend. We'll see. Yes, I will paint the trees / arms. And I will also paint inside the windows and the door of this house. I'll be base coating those areas with ghost white so that they're nice and bright for when I add the ghostly magenta glow later. Still a lot of work to do on this model, but we'll get there. I don't know. At the rate I'm going, I don't know if I can get it done by Halloween, but I will try. Alright, so I think we're going to wrap it up there. But thank you everyone who came to talk to me. This has been my busiest stream since moving to YouTube, and I'm really grateful for that. So thank you to Serene, to Leica, to Crystal, to Ash, and of course to you, Kess. Thank you for being here, and thank you so much for this overlay. I love it. I absolutely love it. And everyone who's come in here tonight has been commenting on it, so I'm happy. Okay. Alright, I don't think anyone I know is streaming on YouTube currently, so we are not going to do each other. And I will just see you in the next one. Bye for now.